soup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me have some more RPG horror stories. Man, it's been getting hotter and hotter. You know what? As somebody that is a tiefling, I wish I had Morrow's fire resistance because the heat will simply not stop. And the worst part about it is it's been so humid. Anytime I wake up in the morning to go do my jogs and stuff, I'm just drenched in sweat. God, it is horrible. It is like swamp weather. It is terrible. Well, I'm inside and dry now, so let's go ahead and get some RPG horror stories for today. Guy begs for games, pushes too hard. So this isn't a horror story from the table, but one of my local gaming community has been dealing with which boiled a head in the last few days. A few years ago, a man came into my local RPG community. Like so many, he seemed eager to want to find games. Now this community is in a hub city that borders 3 states, and is 2 hours from 4 major cities in any direction. So a large community that tries hard to be welcoming and find fit for players of all types. Nearly 1,000 people that all come together to make games happen. Anyway, this guy, who I will not even give a name to, starts by simply posting questions to the community. Daily posts, mostly opinion questions. What's your favorite setting? Favorite system? That kind of stuff. A little over a month in, his questions starting shifting. He'd pose an honest question like, what's your favorite RPG book published? And then followed with, why are online games so unwelcoming? Now, being a community that wants people to find games, we would probe some to give better advice. Then it turns into a question, why can't I find a game group? I feel like it's when somebody's joining into a conversation to try to be like small talk, like, hi, my name is Gary. I like walks on the beach, and I like pina coladas, and why are people so mean to me? It's like, whoa, dude, hold on. It's like, we're going into a different conversation entirely. If you have questions, I don't think this community is there to really answer it for you. You can ask them, but at the same time, it's probably going to be as useful as asking on Ask Reddit, why are people so mean to me? I don't know, maybe it's something you've done in the past, maybe it's something that happened, maybe just unfortunate set of circumstances that basically became just very bad luck or something. It could be various factors, but coming into a community and asking such charged questions, I feel like charged questions, yeah. Coming into a community and asking such charged questions, I feel like is just not the way to go. It just seems very bizarre, but like, oh, what's your favorite RPG system? Wow, the online games are so terrible to play. And it's like, whoa, hold on 1 second. I feel like you're venting here. Are you here to hang out and chill, or are you here to, like, you know, do you need to talk to somebody? I feel like if you need to talk to somebody, you probably talk to like a friend, you know, close friend, not just random people on the internet, right? When we started giving advice, he gave dismissive responses. Everything he'd offer up, he'd shoot down, claim he tried it. This prompted a rant. He claimed that he had no luck finding a game because he is tall, intimidating, not an attractive girl, which had a whole subsection of how he left the table, and because an attractive young woman was there were suddenly players until he returned. So the community pushed back. His experiences sounded like a checklist of the worst RPG horror stories. This guy supposedly experienced every possible red flag player in a short window of time. Someone then called him out on it, pointing out he's incredibly negative, dismissive, and passes blame at every opportunity. So he left the group. 2 years later, he comes back. Now, we want to believe that people can mature, they can grow and learn. Every other day, for 2.5 weeks, he started posting looking for games posts. He wants DCC or D&D 3.5 or Pathfinder first. No Star Wars, Star Trek, no 5e, etc. Okay, slightly picky, but we're allowed to have our tastes. When the 7th post gets minimal feedback, he starts his nonsense again. First, he declares that gaming in the area must be dead because he can't find a game. Very quickly, the community jumps in and points out that school just started back, summer is still in swing, and he's asked for a highly specific set of games. This all means it's going to be harder and to have some patience. There are plenty of games and events coming up. Next, he posts that he is, one last time, requesting a game. He once again lays on a preferred system, but now he elaborates some. He wants D&D 3.5 over 5e because 5e is too power gamer friendly. No, you read that right. And this baffled many of us too. He wants DCC because it's more dungeon delving and less power fantasy. He has had 19 games fall apart in less than a year, citing the worst horror meme tropes you can come up with. Supposedly a player had a meltdown because they couldn't seduce another player character. Another slashed someone's tires for having different political beliefs, among others. If you can't find a game that somebody is playing out there, like if I join in a group and say, hey, I just really want to play some D&D 5e, I have this really cool thing, I found this cool homebrew thing about Final Fantasy and stuff, it's like a Final Fantasy D&D 5e conversion, I really want to try it. Does anybody want to run around it? I kind of want to play as a player. Probably I'm not going to find a lot of people there because not many people are going to have this large overlap of D&D Final Fantasy 14. There's a lot of people that play D&D, there's a lot of people that play Final Fantasy 14, 14, but there's not gonna be a lot of people that like join in middle, join together, you know, doing beautiful matrimony and stuff. The Final Fantasy DTRPG probably might as well just be left under rock somewhere because it's gonna be extremely excessively niche unless you like TTRPGs and love Final Fantasy 14, not just the Final Fantasy series, but the 14, the MMO specifically, that is already niche as it is. Boy, howdy dowdy, you're gonna have a hard time finding people that have this similar kind of overlap and stuff. Either way, the guy's looking for specific niche tastes. If you can't find it, start it. Make it yourself. Make it your own. People are busy doing their own stuff. They're already running specific games and stuff. If you don't want to join anything that's new and something that's popular going on, then oh well. If you have a particular taste that you don't like 5e because it's too power gamey, which I genuinely don't understand. It takes a particular TTRPG to be power gamey. I think you choose any TTRPG in the world and you find the right player that knows to say the right things, you can have power gaming in everything. Because it's so easy to reinterpret or misinterpret the rules and stuff, anybody can be a power gamer and just be like, I'm just doing what the YouTube shorts told me to do. I found a 1-minute YouTube short video telling me how to play the most overpowered Pathfinder character ever. To not power game is really easy. Just don't power game. Or look for games where people aren't going to be exploiting very cheesy, weird things in order to power game. But if this guy really wants a specific niche system or specific system that nobody else is running, just start your own. Host your own game. Be like, hey, I'm hosting this particular game, 3.5e D&D or DCC, whatever DCC is, and I want to get some players together. Maybe some new players that never tried it, or some players with experience. Let's go ahead, put it together, gang. You know, positive outlook, a little bit of a welcoming spin might actually have people want to actually join and try something different for once, instead of playing what's already out there. Guys, why aren't you all running the systems that I want? It's just not gonna get you far. Just honestly, it's just not gonna get you far. So someone asks exactly what sort of game he's looking for. The bottom falls out here. Instead of a simple answer, he writes an essay. The bulletin points read as follows. He's tired of power gamers and mix-maxers. He's fed up with characters built for self-insert therapy runs. He doesn't want games where players are obsessed over who they can seduce. He's sick of oversensitive D&D players. He doesn't want a safe space game. He doesn't want censorship. He wants racism. He wants slavery. He wants death and consequences. He wants, and I quote, tastefully done child killings and essay. What? Some of the initial ones, like the first couple of lists, I'm like, okay, that's kind of reasonable. But the further and further and further down the list you go to the tastefully done child killings NSA, I think the guy wants a game that doesn't exist. That's why I said, maybe he should just run it himself if he really has particular taste and everything. I think this guy's just not ready for this community. I don't think the world is ready for him. You know what? It's not the community's ready for him. The world is not ready for him whatsoever. In the slightest. I think he should probably just maybe not even play TTRPGs at this point. I think he just needs to find like a weird torture game to play on Steam or something that's like for like $2 or $2.99, made by, I don't know, some indie team out there in Eastern Europe, and just play that like a Dark Souls knockoff with all the fantasies that he wants. Maybe. I don't know, honestly. The mods was super quick to ban him from the group, and this rant went against the very core of our community stance. It also was about to unload a barrage of comments that would have gone pretty hard. Look, you can like dark themes, and you can play dark settings, but you should be accommodating and understanding of others, especially in a community-driven game. Also, him saying tasteful essay just hit wrong at so many levels. So he's banned. Issue solved? Right. Nope. He started going to individual store pages, posting he's looking for game stuff. But now with this added, I'm sick of perpetually offended D&D and Pathfinder players which expect every game session to be a safe space or to be a self-insert therapy session to work through their issues. I got blocked from the RPG Society for saying I hate censorship in games which have no stakes or intrigue. Note, I do have this post screen cap for reference, which is insane to him that he is going to like, they banned me for censorship because I don't want censorship or safe spaces in my games. No, you want a particular dark fantasy game that clearly not a lot of people are going to be into whatsoever. But at the end of the day, I don't think it'll be fit for the community in particular, because you want to have some sort of a gratuitous dark fantasy fest for your game. And hey, listen, if you want to do that, do it, but make your own place for that. Start your own game. Advertise in places where probably not this community specifically if you want to do that. Advertise on LFG if you want to. I don't know, r/LFG, probably your best bet. Maybe Roll20, I don't know. The dude has a very particular taste that he really wants to get into, but like nobody else wants to get into that. And him being constantly belligerent belligerent about it instead of just being understanding and reasonable is just crazy. It's insane. And then going to the other page and saying, I was banned because I said I didn't like censorship and I don't want safe spaces in my D&D and Pathfinder games. That's not why you were banned. That's not why we banned at all. You've been extremely disingenuous about this, bud. So I'm not sure what he was expecting, but all the store pages have a serious degree of overlap with the RPG society because we're in good with every store within our area. They come to us to host events, demos, game nights, etc. Happily, he got destroyed in the comments. People posting out he got banned, not blocked, not for saying he hated censorship, but because he advocates for extremely dark and uncomfortable things in a tasteful manner. Others point out he was coming off as perpetual crybaby with main character syndrome. Of course he pushed back, tells people that they need mental help, says he never made a negative comment towards anyone, despite half the post being literally him being negative towards the very group he wants to play with. He leads the post, and we're still waiting to see what he does next. We know he didn't learn anything because he said he was equivalent of being dragged over the coals for posting a bad review of a restaurant, still deflecting. I would say we've seen the last of him, but I feel like more of this is to come, in some form of fashion. He's the kind of guy that's just never gonna give up about this sort of thing. He's gonna never give it up. He's gonna never let you down. I don't know, I'm going to a rickroll. Either way, I feel like this guy is trying to look for a specific type of game that clearly nobody else wants to play, or a very niche amount of people want to play. He's looking in the wrong places, barking up at the wrong tree. The guy crossed the line specifically with everybody when people told him, hey, chill, calm down. He got himself in trouble, and that's what it is. If you have a particular game you want to play that is a very niche game that nobody else wants to play, just start your own. Don't beg for people and tell them to basically make my game happen and make all these demands and things happen for me. Also, the whole thing about him listing various different RPG horror story tropes, I feel like might have been projection, but we're a little bit too far into the video ready to even care about these projections and stuff. We're gonna get to the next story for today. Two DMs decided to take the frustrations on my character because I didn't want to date them. SA mentioned, hi, I can't believe this happened to me twice. My friend told me my experience on RPG sounds like horror stories, so I decided to tell you all about them. Context, I'm a 22-year-old female, fluent in English, but it's not my first language, so forgive my mistakes. It'd be long as it's 2 stories, but I'm trying to sum up everything. First story, my first D&D campaign in my life was in person. A colleague, woman of university, asked me to join her first campaign. The campaign was me, this uni friend, and the DM and 3 guys I didn't know. I met this guy, let's call him Josh, in our first session. It was clear he liked me from the get-go and tried flirting very awkwardly with me, in a way that made me very uncomfortable. He doesn't seem to have any social cues. Even after I refused him, he would talk publicly to others how I matched with him on Tinder years ago and didn't answer his message. Example, we were on the subway, it was packed, and he held me by the waist so I wouldn't fall on people. There was nothing strange, and then he asked in a loud tone, I don't know if this makes me feel close to you, or if this is SA. What? Or flipping hard my forehead in the middle of the street because he thought it was funny. What? What? Who just says this? That's like a red flag. You're just pointing it out. Just like, you know what it is? It sounds like somebody saying something to kind of test the waters to see if this is going too far. But this is already kind of boiling up the water already. This what crazy, dude. So I don't even have to say I dislike him, right? At the time, I refused his advances and thought it would end at that. But then he started making his first campaign and invited me. As all my uni friends were going, I joined too, even if a bit uncomfy. Created my first male character and I was excited to play with him. For the first session, he started belittling my character, always placing him at disadvantage, giving him debuffs, the NPCs made rude comments about him, etc. Then on the third one, it happened. We were at a tavern looking for a place to sleep. Josh started saying to each player that the room that was available and left me at the end. He said I would need to sleep on a closet because there was no room left for me. Only me, no context at all. I started questioning, saying I could even sleep on the ground in another player's room, but I refused this idea. Then I decided to make my character flirt with someone to try to spend the night somewhere, as my character is literally a jock. He is allowed, and made an NPC appear. Josh made me flirt with him, saying it was needed to win over the NPC, and I was really uncomfortable. But I didn't want to cause a scene, and I'm quite introverted, and this was in person with my friends around me. A friend helped me negotiate with the NPC, and she noticed how I was almost crying. And I got in. And nobody said anything. In fact, you're almost crying. I have to deal with this. And nobody's like, hey, Josh, maybe we just don't do that. Maybe you just don't. Like, she's literally at the verge of tears, man. Maybe just chill. Just let him roll persuasion or something to just sleep on the floor somewhere. I bet Josh is doing this whole thing is because he's like, I want you to make a girl character. You made a guy character, so I'm gonna make you punish for it. Man, I wanted to flirt with your female character instead with a lot of my male NPCs. I bet that's probably what happened. And that's why you're being punished for it. God forbid a woman wants to make a male character. I literally dated a girl that played exclusively male characters in World of Warcraft. Her favorite character to play? A male Tauren. She wanted to play the biggest, buffest dudes with giant shoulder plates and everything because she thought they were cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Play whatever you want to play. That should be it, right? No. He made me throw a dice to see if I would be top or bottom, and then Josh acted noises and lines like they were having sex. Ugh. The next day, the tavern owner said all breakfast food would be for free. But when I came down, Josh said it would be for free because the tavern wasn't a place to be a ho, so I would need to pay for everyone. Wow. It was humiliating. He literally made me do it as it was the only option other than the closet. Made me flirt with him, made me throw those dice, then punish me for it, saying how much of a hoe my character was. He never did any of this with any other player, though all girls. He only did it with me. That I refused his feelings. I dropped out and never went to see him again. That was less than 2 years ago. Insanity. Dude is literally so upset that he got rejected, and because she made a... You know probably what happened? Everybody else made a female character. All the other girls made the girl characters, and she made a guy character, and he was like, I want you to be a girl character. Fine, I'll punish you. That, or maybe it's literally because of the rejection. Who knows, honestly? I don't know. Josh seems like a weird oddball of a character. But you know what, folks? It's not over there, because we got one DM down. We got a second DM now going on. So let's get to this and continue with this insanity. Now, the second story that made me literally cry while thinking how disgusting it was. This second DM was my friend. Let's call him Davi. While the first one I never really liked as a person, the second DM, 24 male, was a friend of mine I made last year, and we were close. To sum up his personality, he is a really insecure guy. He's not religious, but was raised in a Mormon family. He dated a girl, and while they were preparing to marry, she cheated on him, beginning of last year. We met last year in our dance class and bonded over the fact that we were both nerds. After some time, he ended up asking me to join his campaign, and excited, I joined. This was an online campaign on Discord. Best decision I ever did. The other players are amazing people, and some I consider close friends or best friends. Because of his clear insecurity, it was normal for him to have a crush on every woman he saw. It still is. So he had a crush on me. I made sure he knew I didn't like him back since the beginning was very obvious, and then he stopped making advances. So, it's over, right? Haha. What happened was he started doing a new campaign this year, Ordem Paranormal from Selbit, Brazilian system. It's relevant because it's not a fantasy setting like D&D, for example. Story goes on in Brazil, in my city, more grounded in real themes, less fantasy, which made my experience 100 times worse by how realistic I imagined the scene. In this campaign, I was the only woman. I didn't know anyone other than Davi, the DM. Since the beginning, I felt left out as the men would only really listen to each other and they would treat my character like crap. Like I wasn't as capable as them. Classic RPG sexism. Davi would always side with them even when they did horrible things and threatened to kill my character. Well, that's awful. That's a horrible DM. At the end of the day, if that's actually... Dude, I can't even just imagine that going on in my game. If that was started happening in my game, even a hint of that, I would immediately clap back at it because what the fuck? So your DM sees the sexism, doesn't clap down on it, joins it instead. Why are you playing with this DM then? I don't think they're good of a friend. That's how they're gonna be DMing and stuff. They're just saying, oh, the dude bros are making fun of the only girl in the party. Yeah, let me join on now. Oh, God, women guys, am I right? What? It's insanity. Then the mission where the essay happened. We were trying to invade a factory. The only way was getting into the black van they used to kidnap people. My character was a famous actress, so I decided to be the bait. While the van arrived, the others were supposed to kill the enemies and we would get their clothes to walk in. It went wrong and I got kidnapped. It's difficult for me to write what happened next. It was disgusting, horrifying, and I never felt more betrayed by a guy. I told Davi about what happened to Josh, and he was one of the people who helped me get out of the situation, so you knew how disgusting what he was doing was. My character woke up in Gurney. There was this monster described with 2 faces, a disgusting grin, bit of a slimy texture. His hands looked like tree branches. This monster said he would impregnate me. What? Implying I was not the first woman to be done that I would be using a ritual to aid the return of a demon or something like that. As soon as I took in my environment, I did the roleplay of my life, even got 18 pluses in all my acting and persuasion tests. Act like I was on the evil people side, even said I was informant, and many even said I had information about the man they feared the most. I proved that I had and asked to talk to someone about it. because he said after impregnating me I would lose 24 hours or more of memories, so I tried persuading with information they really wanted, but Davi clearly wasn't planning on letting me go. It was a planned scene. Even if I did all the roleplay right, it doesn't matter. Davi's a DM who only wants to tell his story. He likes cliffhangers and things for shock value. He won't change his story even if players do a good job. And he literally decided, you know what, we need to have this essay scene with this monstrosity with tree-like limbs and stuff because my story is more important instead of what player agency is going on. I don't think Davi is a good DM in this situation. If you describing Davi in this situation, they're not good at DM, because if a DM is not willing to budge in a scene, things have to be specifically scripted in such a way without any player involvement, no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do as a character, then at that point you're on rails, and you're on rails to SA Town, which is not a good place to be in this situation because the DM is literally sending you there. He's saying, nope, sorry, this ride ends and your character being SA'd. There's nothing you can do about it. Then leave. Be like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I'd rather not. If this is how it's going to end, no thank you. I'm just going to just leave. I'll turn off Discord and move on because I don't need this in my life. I don't think Davi is a good enough DM that you explained him to be or made him out to be. See, this sounds like a shitty DM. This sounds like terrible, god-awful DM. He described in a cutscene how the monster ignored all I said, approached me with a big syringe with a yellow liquid, must have kept his monologue about the demon I would give birth to, while he touched my face with his 3 fingers, a bit slimy, touched my chin, made me look at him. Then he described how the monster used the other hand to hold my waist, his fingers extending, pressing my character against the bed, while I tried getting free. It was horrible, disgusting. Pains me just to think about it. Then he injected the yellow liquid in me and I passed out. Then he exploded my character's best friend as soon as she opened her eyes and woke up confused in the middle of nowhere. WTF was that context? There's none. He simply started doing cyberbullying with me with my character. Davi got worse and worse since last year. He now posts incel stuff. All he talks about is how his appearance is what is wrong with him, how he was a good personality, how everything that goes wrong is because women don't see past looks, and how he's always right. Even in simple conversations like shorts or pants, he will be really defensive and mad if you don't agree with him. Sometimes verbally aggressive. Dude, Davi sounds like an asshole. You probably shouldn't interact with Davi whatsoever. If Davi is the kind of person that's like, I have to be right. If I'm not right, then everything is wrong about them. Oh, why would women like me? They just want the looks. They're not right. I am right. It's the women that are wrong. I genuinely don't think Davi's a good person. You should stop hanging out with them. You should stop talking to them completely. Avoid them entirely. Davi is lost in the sauce, and not the good sauce, the bad incel sauce. And there's not much you can do about them. They have to wake up on their own. It may take years, months, who knows, decades even, but at this point I think you should just stop interacting with Davi. They just lost. I found out he made me get SA at the same time he stopped having a crush on me, more or less. He had a crush on me last year and I thought it ended quickly. But no, I found out he liked me until 04/2025. How all the time I talked with him excited on my phone, or we went out as friends. He was creating a fanfic in his head how I really liked him, how every memory I have of having fun with him as a friend he was expecting me to kiss him, to date him. How can I see this friendship is genuine now? How desperate he has to be to think I ever liked him back, even though I always talked openly in the dance studio how I don't and won't have a crush on anyone there because of my sexuality and preferences. How he stopped having a crush on me because he was pissed with me. He got pissed because he saw me opening a dating app with my friend in front of him. That made him pissed off. So the guy basically was friends with you because he has a crush on you, but as soon as he saw you opening up a dating app, he's like, don't not my friend anymore. Fine, I'll just make this weird monster SA character, see if I care and stuff. That is insane. That is crazy. That's crazy person talk. What the hell? If the only reason you're friends with somebody is because you have a crush on them, I don't think you're a friend. I don't think you guys are friends. I think you just have a crush on them. You have attachment to the person, and you're just not willing to budge in the attachment that you're willing to make everything, all your interactions, all about the specifically you having a crush. But as soon as the crush breaks through, the facade lifts, and suddenly Davi is just Davi, an asshole. Davi is indeed an asshole, because that's how they treat people that are not friends, then definitely don't want to interact with Davi whatsoever. If the only reason Davi will ever treat somebody nice is because he has a crush on them and hopes that one day his fantasies will come true, then Davi's not a good person. Davi's an asshole, complete fucking asshole. Do not interact with Davi. Don't have somebody like Davi in your life. I feel like Davi in this situation, as unfortunate as it was to you, I feel like Davi is a lesson for the future. If another nice guy comes around, it's only nice because there's a crush on you. Probably just want to cut him out of your life and just not have interactions with them, which is unfortunate and difficult to do. Because people that try to be nice and try to be the nice person, the nice guy, the nice girl, usually end up becoming the most toxic people ever, because their toxicity is hidden. The toxicity is hidden by their crush on you, and as soon as the crush is lost, the facade lifts and they become a complete asshole, and it's terrible. It's awful. I'm so sorry that happened to you. For real. Davi's such a dickbag. Sorry, I'm kind of crying while writing this. There are the times I hate being a woman. I hate this so much. What did I ever do wrong to have to deal with all this? I didn't even mention all the little aggressions Davi has for my characters, even as he is not the DM. All the implications of some kind of messed up essay, or all the times he makes NPCs just so he could flirt with my character or other women. Yeah, that's it everyone. I'm exhausted just writing all this and thinking how it's difficult for me to stand up for myself. I would be justified screaming at them, having an argument about it, but I can't. Makes me feel horrible. I know it's not my fault, and it's the second time this happened. It messes with my head. I am so sorry, OP, and honestly, I hope you'll find a group out there that has a no-nonsense DM and no-nonsense players. I hope in the future you'll find a group for yourself out there that puts up no tolerance for this stuff. And even yourself, like, honestly, I think you should just go full aggressive mode at this point. Have no tolerance for any of this behavior. Draw the line immediately early on. I know it's not gonna be the friendliest thing to do out there, but honestly, I think it's just the easiest way to just deal with it. Draw the line early on. If you start seeing behavior where it's like somebody's being a little bit too pushy and stuff, say, nope, I'm not into you. We're not doing that. The only thing I could do is friends. If that's not cool with you, let's just stop talking right now. And just make it extremely clear. I know it sounds aggressive and not the most friendliest thing to do, but I feel like in this situation, this might be easier. I really do hope you find yourself a group that has no tolerance for people's bullshit, and you can actually play games finally and just have a good time without any of the nonsense. You deserve to have friends that aren't just going to be friends with you because they want to sleep with you. You deserve to have people that got to play with you because they want to have fun with you, not to torture your character in some horrible, gruesome way just for the sake of torturing your character. I'm sorry that happened to you, OP, and honestly, I wish you nothing but the very best. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.